All right, Cancer, this is your 2020 love horoscope and tarot reading. I'm Ryan for Arrows of Love. Welcome to my channel. In this reading, what we're going to do is pull two cards from the Romance Angels Oracle deck, and then we're going to clarify with the tarot. Before we do that, though, I'm going to review some of the things that are happening in the sky, because that will help us understand the energies that are coming through in the tarot. All right, Cancer, crabby pants. I say that lovingly. I'm a Cancer rising, so I understand Cancer at a core level. So I say that with love. Cancer, right now, the sun's shining a spotlight on your sixth house, right? It's in Sagittarius until December 21st. The sixth house is about work. It's about routine. And it's about health. It's not necessarily a romance or a love house. You're dealing with other stuff right now until the sun makes its way into Capricorn on December 21st, which is your seventh house of one-on-one relationships, marriage, and contracts. So before I get to that, let's talk a little bit about what's happening with the eclipses, because this is going to be important. For the last year and a half, the eclipses have been happening on the Cancer-Capricorn axis. So, since 2018, there's probably been some really massive changes with you, you personally, and with your partnerships and your relationships. There's probably been some big endings and big beginnings since 2018. The nodes of the moon have finally moved out of our axis, the Capricorn-Cancer axis, and have moved on to the Sagittarius-Gemini axis. So for us, that is sixth house, right? That's Sagittarius. And then Gemini is your 12th house. So the 12th house is about rest. It's about the subconscious. It's about endings. It's also karma. It's the karma house. So it's the last house reserved for the universe to kind of correct anything that needs correction, right? So the lunar eclipse that just happened on November 30th was in the 12th house. Lunar eclipses are illuminations. Information could be coming your way. And it could have been around work, health, and routine, not necessarily about love. But that doesn't mean it can't happen, right? So over the next year, until December 2021, the eclipses will be happening on that 6th and 12th axis, work and endings. So I'll just say this, you might be changing jobs over the next year, or you might be thinking about it. The sun moves into Capricorn on December 21st. December 21st is a very important date. It is the the winter solstice. It's also the day that Capricorn and Jupiter that have been sitting in, Saturn and Jupiter that have been sitting in Capricorn. Jupiter's been there for a year, since December of last year. Saturn has been in Capricorn since December 2017. Taskmaster Saturn has been shaking up your relationship department for 3 years. It's finally moving on to Aquarius, where it's going to conjoin with Jupiter at 0 degrees. So that's in your 8th house. That is the STD house. I'm not saying you have an STD. It's sex, taxes, and death. It's also joint ventures. So you might be reviewing intimacy. The 8th house is ruled by Pluto, traditionally ruled by Pluto. That's Scorpio. So there could be Scorpion energy in the air. There could be secrets. It's the underworld. So things will start bubbling up around those 8th house matters right after both Saturn and Jupiter move into Aquarius. So, and they're going to be there for a while. Saturn's going to be there for 2 or 3 years, 2.5 years at least, and Jupiter will be there for about a year. It takes about a year for Jupiter to make its way through the sign. So this is still great energy. It's a new cycle, of course. Jupiter expands whatever is happening in there. So if you've done the work in the 7th, if you've cleared out those things that don't align with your highest purpose, that's when Saturn and Jupiter bestow the greatest gifts. Taskmaster Saturn in ancient astrology is supposed to be this malefic planet. It brings restriction and suffering and delay. But if you harness the positive aspects of Saturn, determination, perseverance, goal setting, that's when Saturn bestows its greatest gifts. And these are greater gifts than the benefic planets, Venus and Jupiter, can bestow. So look at it this way. Saturn and Jupiter move out of your 7th house. Things could have been difficult on the partnership front, the marriage front. This also deals with legal contracts. They move into Aquarius, into your 8th. Jupiter's the faster moving planet, so it's going to separate from Saturn over the next couple months. So we're, January, February, March, they will separate. And that's when Jupiter bestows its gifts. And that's when Saturn will start bestowing its gifts. So there's some massive karma coming back to us if we've done the work, right? And if we've cleared out the crap, so to speak. Venus, goddess of love and relationships, she is sitting in your 5th house of romance, children, fun and games, and investments. She's sitting in Scorpio. She's been in Scorpio for a few weeks now. Venus in Scorpio is at its detriment. And let me explain that a little bit. So Venus rules Taurus. And Taurus is on the opposite side of the wheel from Scorpio. So Scorpio, unfortunately, when Venus is in there, is at its detriment. So it doesn't always bring the most pleasant things in love. It can be kind of a tough love type of department. But the caveat to that is Venus likes to kind of have a disguise in here because it's Scorpio and it's hidden things. So you very well could have met someone, if you're looking and single, that kind of bewitches the senses in the romance department, right? Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. Pluto is sitting over in Capricorn in your 7th house. So it's testing 7th house matters, one-on-one relationships with, Venus sitting over in your romance department. So, there could be great passion and intimacy happening right now. You might be thinking, if you're dating, maybe that you found the one. It can be, this can kind of bewitch the senses, so to speak. And but what I want to warn you about this is that Venus in its detriment, sitting in the sign of Pluto, this can bring up past life lovers. It can bring up karmic loops. It can bring up jealousy, possessiveness, power dynamics, power struggles. So if you're dealing with any of that, you're feeling that Venus, that was just bad shuffling on my part. You're feeling that Venus, Pluto energy quite strongly. Venus moves out of Scorpio on December 15th and into Sag, which is your 6th house again of work, routine, and health. If you're waiting to decide on any type of romantic partnership, if you've met someone, what I would say is kind of give it a little bit of time, because you're likely to get more information once Venus moves out of its detriment in Scorpio on the 15th. Another thing to consider here is the day before is the total solar eclipse in Sag. So it's a lot of energy happening at once, right? And the planets are shifting around for us, for a reason. So go with the flow. Eclipses bring new beginnings and endings, and these energies can last up to 6 months. So it's best not to go against the tide here, because things will get difficult. What I'd say is if people are leaving, let them leave. Don't beg them to stay. It's not meant for you, especially around that total solar eclipse in Sag on the 14th, because that's right on the nodes of the moon, and there's some destiny involved in that. So let it flow naturally. The universe is bringing good stuff for you, Cancer. It's been a tough couple of years. I won't sugarcoat it for you. It's not easy stuff. One other thing that I want to mention here with Venus sitting in Scorpio is that about a week and a half ago, it opposed Uranus sitting in Taurus. So the Taurus is your 11th house of friendships, networks, group associations, hopes, wishes, and dreams. So there could have been a friend that you may have considered to take it a step further, move it out of the friend zone and into the relationship zone. Uranus and Venus, this is kind of a serendipitous type of romance almost. It's got a friend, it's got kind of like a friends with benefits energy to it. But I want to say this, aspects between Venus and Uranus tend to be short-lived. Uranus is the great liberator. It works through shock and awe. It's fast. It's a slow-moving planet, but it awakens the senses. So, the opposition between those two could have brought in that serendipitous love, but the thing is, it's in fast and it's out fast. So if you've had any type of romantic feelings for someone and it didn't last, that would probably be the reason why. And remember, Venus right now is sitting in its detriment, so it doesn't do so well. If we want to harness better energy with Venus, we got to wait until it's in Sag. So that's the general energies happening right now. We'll see how these play out. So you got a lot happening, work, 12th house karma, 5th house romance, children, 8th house once Saturn and Jupiter move out of Capricorn into Aquarius. So we'll see how this all plays out, Cancer. All right, so this is a general reading for Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. Take the messages that resonate with you, leave the rest. The messages won't be for everyone, so keep that in mind. Assign genders as you will. Don't get too hung up on the gender thing. Pay more attention to the energies of the cards. So I'm going to pull 2 romance angels, and then we're going to clarify with the tarot. So let's get going, Cancer. First one, calling in your soulmate. Your prayers, affirmations, and visualizations help bring you together. Doing some manifesting work, Cancer. Wanting that love, wanting that connection. That's very 5th house, 7th house, right? Venus is sitting in the 5th, and this heavy hitter sitting in the 7th. Let's see another one. All right, codependency. Addictions are affecting your romantic life. All right, let's see who's got some codependency issues. Cancer, you're the nurturer. You tend to go above and beyond for your love interests, and it's important for you to not overly identify with your partnership. So that could have been a lesson of Saturn, codependency. Addiction, that could also be Plutonian energy, and that's sitting in Capricorn too. So one of your partners may be dealing with an addiction issue, especially with Venus sitting in Scorpio. That's obsession, that's jealousy, that brings up addiction. So let's see how this all plays out. This is for Cancer. All right, Cancer. Calling in your soulmate and codependency. Let's see what the first one. 3 of Cups. The Devil. That's Capricorn. We were just talking about Capricorn. That's also addiction. We'll get to that in a second. Page of Swords. The Magician. Yeah, you're definitely manifesting something. 3 Swords. And the Fool. Okay. All right, Cancer, you got some interesting cards. You got some major arcana here. You're going through big stuff. We've been talking about that, right? This isn't easy stuff. So let's start in by calling in your soulmate. All right, angels. What I want to say here, Cancer, is this energy, 3 cups and the devil. This could be a third-party situation. This could be a toxic situation that needs to go. The devil typically represents control issues. It's Capricorn. And the lesson of the devil is break the chains that bind you. Those are the lovers sitting there, right? That's Gemini. We just talked about Gemini, 12th house. So there's something here that needs to be broken. A toxic situation, a toxic person, a toxic relationship, and it needs to go. And the 3 of Cups often represents celebration. It's the 3, but in a love reading, it can also mean a third-party situation. So there's someone that might not be on the up and up, especially with Scorpio sitting in Venus, and it's at its detriment, right? So, like I said, sometimes it brings in some really tough love. And the devil is Capricorn. And Saturn is sitting at that 28th degree. That's the very last degrees of Capricorn. Those are crusty degrees. Those are degrees of maturity from 20 to 29. And it's sitting at the very end. And I look at this, these two, codependency and the devil go hand in hand. That can be addiction. Something needs to be let go. A toxic situation needs to end. I don't think it's with you. I think it's with the partner. And these 3 together, those lunar eclipses sitting in Gemini, especially with the Page of Swords here, there could have been revelations with this toxic situation or possible third-party situation on November 30th or over this last week. Messages or news might have been coming out, right, about this third-party situation. And maybe you thought this was going to be your person. I don't think so. Because let's take a look at the next row with codependency. You have the Magician, right? 3 of Swords, and the Fool. So the way I read this is the Magician. The Magician is a manifestation card, but the Magician can also be tricky on its negative side. This is a manipulative person. This might be someone that's trying to hide a codependency issue. And maybe you found out about it. Eclipses illuminate. We're in eclipse season. So this person may have been hiding their addiction issue, especially with the devil sitting here and the Magician. That can be real tricky energy, real tricky. And it's likely that you found out about it and it hurt. You got 2 3s here. 3 of Swords and the 3 of Cups. That's love loss. That's someone that wasn't on the up and up with you. May have been hiding things from you. Codependency. The chains of the devil have to be broken. And the last card, which I like, and I'm glad you got this, is the Fool. So this is you moving away from that situation. That 12th house can bring back past life lovers, karmic relationships, karmic loops, and I feel like this might be it. This has the devil is karma. The devil is control. The devil is addiction. The Magician can be a tricky fellow. But the Fool is the new start. And I feel like you're moving away from this situation, Cancer. You're starting the new journey. You're letting that baggage go. It doesn't serve your highest purpose. So you want to call in the right soulmate, but this is probably a stepping stone soulmate. It's here to teach you a lesson, so you can move on and call in the right partner for you. And this is exactly what the Fool does. It brings the new beginning. The Tarot is about the journey of the Fool through the major arcana. So once you move past, Saturn moves past that 7th house and into the 8th, you very well might see a shift in your partnerships, but this is the new start. This is definitely the new start, Cancer. I'm going to pull one more for the outcome. This is the outcome, but let's just pull one more. Yeah, 10 of Swords. So this falls in line with the 3 of Swords. You're feeling that betrayal. You're feeling like someone pulled the wool over your eyes, and you're moving on. You are moving on to greener pastures. Don't let a codependent relationship slow you down, Cancer. You are the feeler. You are the nurturer. You don't like giving up on people. But you got to think about yourself first and what's right for you and what makes you happy. This isn't happiness. This is junk. So, Cancer, what you need to do is harness the energy, wait for Venus to move out of that detriment aspect in your 5th house. You're going to see a lighter energies come in as Saturn and Jupiter move out of your 7th. And I would say, in that January, February timeframe, you're going to feel a lot lighter. And new beginnings will start for you, but here you got to leave this behind and make anew. If you would like a personal reading, my email is in the description box below. Feel free to send me an email. We'll set something up. We can talk more about this. But Cancer, I wish you the best, and we'll talk to you next time.